And this will be the third and final section of the stamp collecting for the team attractions. Just gonna have multiple ways to play between single player and different battle modes and the storylines for each one. Starting off the Legend of Zelda Battle Quest, you're gonna have a good amount of content to explore and do. For the time attack, you're gonna have 3 stages, master conditions of 40 seconds. It's a pretty hard goal to complete, but something to work towards. It's a fun minigame. This is one of my more favorite things. I like doing different speed runs. For the stamp collecting, you can see there's beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Just finishing them within 50 seconds, clearing them all within 45, and then speed master, which would just be that 40 seconds or under for each stage. Play one stage of this and one stage of the battle mode, or some sort of the adventure mode. I think it's faster just to shoot them with 2 arrows. Unless you're getting that first one, you need to aim up. These would be faster to take out, because I'm pretty sure they're 3 shots. Same thing with anything you gotta aim at, or that's gonna be in a straight line, as long as you time it right. "42 seconds, so as you can see, there's little leeway for missing any arrows whatsoever. That, I guess, was my top time, not by much, so I knew I was below that 45-second mark. And just going back to the team attractions, to go in and do the quest, you're going to need the Wii Motion Plus for this and the Metroid. Going with 2 players. Probably could have started this with 1, but we'll throw a second guy in there just because. As you can see, there's the different conditions for mastery. They're almost always just finished without taking damage. I have a little bit left to go in that extra mode that unlocks after completing it. And there is completion status for mastery for each the archer and the swordsman. So that's something to do as well. Get your Mii's all geared up, ready for action. Make sure you're wearing the wrist strap so you don't throw the remote at the TV. It's always a good thing to do. And it's not too bad for the first bit. It's just collect rupees, 100 and 1,000. Just playing the game a whole bunch. For Triforce Collector, it's just getting that first area done. Quest Master would just be mastering everything, in Legendary Hero would be beating all the stages, and I'm assuming mastering them too. It's quite a bit of play that I haven't gotten into, but I'll show you a bit of the gameplay from this as well. I have to point at the screen here. I'm playing by myself, so got the swordsman and the other guy. I think it's a lot easier playing as a swordsman, even though I've played the archer just because of the gamepad. You can get a lot of rupees just from destroying the enemies, but there are pots, which you might be able to see them on the right-hand side. I had a feeling there's just going to be a stamp feeling with the combos, but there's not. Pretty easy to rack up combos too as a swordsman. You just hit stuff without getting hit. This is probably going to end pretty quickly, so I'm trying to play 2 guys at once, and the archer just wants to run forward. Keep the archer in the back. You can change your target with A. It's a pretty good thing to do if you need to turn around and help out your archer. Down to 1 heart left. What's it gonna be? Victory or defeat? And I don't see really too many ways of hitting that bird that's over the other way. But you can get it as the archer. So I'm gonna see if I can do this. Yeah, and then hitting the birds give you hearts. The pots will give you coins. Occasionally a heart. Just whale left and right. Doesn't matter. The only enemies that matter are the ones with the shields. You can break your shields anyway, so seems like the swordsman really can't do as much as the archer, but it's easier to get hit as the archer. Each stage will have a mini boss battle, if not a big boss battle. It's just introducing the shield guys. And that's game over. Don't do it. Link saying, don't try the gamepad and the swordsman as one player. It's just not gonna work. Moving on, we're gonna hunt some more stamps in the next team attraction Pikmin adventure, Tame the Wilderness. A couple modes of play. It's gonna total to 10 stamps. I'm gonna go ahead and just select a couple characters here. One of the guest characters, guest character D. It's always a good pick. You're gonna be able to unlock those stages just by playing the game. And each stage you play 1 or 3 times and you unlock the next one. As far as the stamps go though, 1 or 2 seem a little bit tricky and might take a while to figure out, but they're not too bad. Candy from a Pikmin can only be obtained as playing by Olimar, and the only candy you pick up have to be from a Pikmin. So the normal candy that drops is green, candy you drop is going to be red, and then the blue Pikmin's going to drop blue candy, so make sure you only pick up the blue candy. For Clobber Olimar and Rock Your Foe ×5, you could play as either side, just make sure you throw 5 rocks at your enemy. For an incredible comeback, you're going to want to be 20 candy down and get 20 candy. It may be a little less than that, but that's what I tried to get that stamp in Pacifist Victory. Of course, don't attack anything, just pick up candy. No need, just going to explain some rules, but we can skip them. We don't need no rules. There's no rules in Pikmin Club. Just going to collect some candy here. Jump in. And I'll go for the Clobber ×5 and the Clobber Olimar. So we got 1, 2. I'm gonna get the 3rd rock. That missed. And that power-up's actually not gonna be good for this run for getting the Clobber Olimar, but we'll see if one spawns a little later on in the match. I missed that rock too. I actually didn't know that for a while. You can actually hop on and attack just like Olimar's throwing you. Just make sure you finish your jump before attacking. That's the wrong power-up as well. This will be the correct power-up. You can jump and attack him. Or maybe 3 punches. And looks like I'm not going to get the 5 rocks because I missed a couple, but you get the idea of how to get that stamp. By the way, I haven't explained this yet, but every stamp you get is going to give you the 10 coins. If you look down in the bottom left, it tells you you know, what coins you get and how they attribute to the total. So I should get a stamp, Clobber Olimar. And I'm going to move on to the second part of the Pikmin attraction, which is the quest. I'm not sure which they call it yet, but we'll see in a second. The challenge part. I'm going to play as one player with Olimar. Now all the stages are going to have a master rank that's a speed run without taking damage. It's pretty challenging. I'd probably say the most challenging out of all the attractions to get master ranks. Yet again, you have the Pikmin and Olimar completion bar up top. I'm going to pick stage 4 to show how to get one of the stamps, and I'll explain the rest. And I'll leave the notes in the description as well. This game kind of grew on me at first. I thought it was a little lame, but it gets challenging the more you go. It actually took me a few tries to get some of the later levels. First mastery is just beating one and getting a mastery. AI Protector, when you're playing as Olimar, you get a Mii to help you out. Just make sure they don't get knocked out. Eyes of the Bub Lord I'm going to do right now. Make sure you attack the eyes of the first boss before you kill him. Great Explorer, just complete all the stages, and Master Explorer, master all the stages. It's pretty difficult. So we're going to overthrow the Bub Lord. I'll do about half the boss battle and I'll switch on to the next area. And sometimes when you walk through the brush here, you'll get some coins or nectar, whatever they call it in the game, to power up your Pikmin. You could always boost up your damage by grabbing all the nectar and breaking all the optional blocks. For the speedrun, it seems like you're gonna have to make a pretty good path of what to gain and what to skip. And there's the Bub Lord. So as you get through, as you can see, you throw the Pikmin right on his eyes. He's gonna toss them off here and there. Just avoid his charges and his chomps. Just leave your Pikmin on him for a while. I'd probably say they have somewhere close to like 150, 200 health, so it does take quite a while. But as you can see, you just make sure his eyes break, and you'll get the achievement for that. I'm going to quit out and go to the next section. And for this final attraction, you're going to need the most controllers and add-ons and Wii Motion Plus and all that jazz to be able to do all the stamps. You're going to have 15 stamps to complete in the Metroid Blast Deep Space Shootout. So you see 1 to 5 players. We're going to start with the ground battle on the far right. It's going to be 2 to 4 players, but they both have to have nunchucks, as well as the Wii Motion Plus. Let me get this all configured here. We got me and some random guest today. Who will that be? Random guestie. You do only have tokens to begin with, but the more you play the base game, and maybe even this, you're going to unlock survival mode. For all the ones you're going to want the tokens to be on. The enemies don't really matter, as they're just obstacles and the different maps that you can unlock as you play. Any of them's fine for all the stamps.
Check the controls.
And these stamps come pretty quick. This is probably the easiest way if you wanted just to get a whole bunch of coins. You can really use this to your advantage. 100 token drop. You have to be the player that drops that many, so you have to be shot at quite a bit. You can set your coins at the beginning of the battle, which helps out. Thanks for the tanks is simply just picking up a coin tank when it appears. Max token victory, just make sure you win with 99 tokens. 10 hit hunter, just shoot a different hunter 10 times, and for perfect aim, just finish the round with 100%. So it is quite possible to get all these in one if you were playing with 2 players and you're purposely trying to aim for it, but getting 3 or 4 would probably be a lot easier just in one run, so like 30 or 40 coins per run. So, skipping the practice session, I'm going to start off by adding some coins to each side. There we go, 80 on each. Time to click some tokens. And I like how a lot of Nintendoland you could see the difference between the areas is pretty apparent. Like player 1's in section 3, player 2 was in section 1. One's green, one's blue. But you can, you know, shoot the player and pick up the tokens to go for your 99, for your 10-hit hunter, and you're perfect. Already missed a couple times, so I'm not going to get the perfect 100%. But you can see there. Just last until I get the 99 coins. The gamepad will show where the coin tank is too. Like right now I see it's between green and yellow. So, yep, look over and there it is. So it's nice if you have like a coffee table to prop it up. That way each of you know where it is when it spawns. Music calms down a little bit. And Nintendo definitely know that this is going to cater to the more advanced player, because even at the start of it, it says, you know, that the advanced players are going to more stick towards this attraction. I find it to be the most fun out of all of them. It almost seems like a whole game compared to anything else that's in the Nintendoland. You can just wait out everything else. Roll the little ball. Can't do too much else. There's a lot to do as far as moving around as the Mii. You can use the warp pads, the grapple shots. You have a charge blast, which is pretty cool.
60 seconds left.
You can shoot it, and then it's timed, or you can shoot it again. You can shoot it and self-detonate it. Ah! You also have a hop dodge. There we go. You fire the little bomb and shoot it to detonate it early. So there's quite a bit of strategy, even though there's some basic attacks. You're shooting bomb. And if you're in the ship, they're shooting missile. You also can zoom a little bit. Narrows your sight. Gotta aim in a little easier. You push the coins when you shoot them. Doesn't really help too much. Normally push them away from yourself. Finish. So that would be the stamps for the competitive part. Moving on to the next section. I have to back out of these menus to do it. And there we go, Metroid Blast. Deep Space Shooter. Round 2, we're going to go to Surface Air Combat. Only one person's on the gamepad. One person's on a Wii Motion Plus with Nunchuck. These are pretty easy stamps as well. You could mess with the time limit, make it a little bit easier. As well as add enemies for obstacles. So it mixes up the gameplay just enough to up the replayability, for sure. Taking a look at the stamp list here. You're gonna have last second blast. It'd be defeat the enemy with 1 second left. Free fall finisher, you're gonna have to play as the on-foot player and fall off a cliff and shoot any other player that's left alive and get a finish like that. Gunship bomber is to, just bomb the Metroid ship player as the on-foot person. Make sure you hit him with the bomb, and the missile strikes, just playing as the ship and shooting a missile. Gunship accuracy is playing as a gunship and 100% accuracy. So again, a really easy bunch of stamps to collect. Just playing probably about 30 seconds of this match. You could choose your starting life. You can move it up to 6 or even down to 1 if you're that daring. Come in as the ship, knock him out. I like how there's a lot of ways to boost from the gamepad when you're playing as a ship. You can click any of the analog sticks, or A works too. So they did a nice job of mapping the buttons. So this guy's at 2. There he is. Shoot him with the missile, finish him up. And I'll move on to the last bit. Of the stamp collecting. It's going to be the third mode for Metroid Blast. Doing the assault missions, you play as one player on foot or in air. Either works, except for one you have to specifically play on the ground, I believe. It's a pretty difficult mode, and I like how the master ranks weren't all just the same thing for this. As you can see, don't miss any charged shots, finish in 3 minutes or less, take no damage, only use charge attacks. So these master ones were mixed up a lot better in my opinion. I'll just choose one of the random ones. And you actually do fight Kraid, which is one of the more notorious Metroid bosses. There's a stamp dealing with him as well. I probably should have selected that stage, but I'll write about it in the description. 100 enemies down, just destroy 100 enemies. Boss blasters, just beat a boss. As far as mission accomplished, you have to finish the base set of missions, not the extra. And then Master Bounty Hunter would be mastering all those. As far as in the belly of the beast, I believe you'd have to play the Kraid level as the on-foot person. I haven't done that yet, and then just make your way up to his mouth and hop on in. I'll just play a couple moments of this gameplay, and that'll end the stamp collection guide for Nintendoland. We could fly around, shoot missiles. And do all that jazz. So, that finishes the Metroid Prime